you.
Thank you.
That was an amazing introduction. I feel like I'm participating in a game show or something.
That was
wonderful.
wonderful. Thank you.
So, hello and welcome. So, the session that we're going to have today is going to be really about how better creative, powered by quality supply, data, and innovation, is allowing brands like Vodafone to really transform how they're showing up across media. We are very excited to talk about how the synergy happens when brand and performance come together in a really seamless way, and how TripleLift has been able to power that at true scale. So before we jump in, I want to do some quick introductions. Hi, again, hello, Terricka, Head of Services for International TripleLift team. On the demand side of the business, I lead our partner management function, supporting our brands and agencies. And on the supply side of the business, I lead our publisher client service function, who is supporting our supply partners. So a bit of sad news. I was supposed to be sharing the stage right now with the amazing Izzy Morris from Vodafone, but unfortunately, Izzy fell ill a couple of days ago and is not able to join us today. But in her stead, the amazing Toccara Baker has jumped in last minute.
Hi, everyone. I am not Izzy. As Terricka said, unfortunately, she fell ill, so I'm pitching in here. So I lead our field and brand marketing teams here at TripleLift, really focused on our go-to-market across our products throughout our external marketing. So I'm going to do my best to tell the Vodafone story, and we'll really kind of frame it around how we as TripleLift work with Vodafone, and at some point later, we will have Izzy really explain her approach to it. So I'll leave the start of this over to you, Terricka.
Amazing. So as a forefather, nay I say foremother of Native, since this is the stage that we're on, creative has been a huge part of the TripleLift DNA because it's important. It's one of the key things that brands are looking at when they are evaluating whether or not the media is working for them or not. But as we've known, creative is often overlooked in its standard media planning process, and we want to really change that. From the TripleLift perspective, the next frontier of programmatic is not just about smart targeting, which is very important, I think we all agree, but it's also about smarter creative, interesting and differentiated ways for consumers to engage with brands that drive value. We believe in this so much, we've kind of engineered our entire platform around this idea and this mission, building really powerful creative that is also performance-driven as much as your media is. So the ad industry has evolved. It kind of had to, but the ad experience itself has a lot of catching up to do, in my opinion. If you're out in the wild, a lot of what you see is the stuff on the left, traditional ads and traditional slots. TripleLift has went out of its way to build something better. We have built creative formats with intention, the intention to increase attention for our brand, the intention to create interesting spaces for storytelling, and with the intention that you can scale it. So when data, media, and creative come together in a really seamless way, that's how the brand wins, that's how the consumer wins, and that's how the publisher wins. We believe in this strongly. And that is probably why we call ourselves the Creative SSP. So you probably have heard of TripleLift in market, and you probably heard of us being described as the native guys. And that's pretty fair because that's how we started, and we're really proud of that history. But today in 2025, we are so much more than that. We are differentiated, unique custom formats that are performance-driven. We are built-in curation backed by first-party publisher data, and we are scale. We're currently integrated with over 5,000 publishers directly across our exchange, and we spent the last several years building what we consider a really quality SSP, and we're really proud of that. So we've worked with several brands in scaling out what better creative execution looks like. Vodafone happens to be one of those brands, and unfortunately, again, Izzy's not here to talk about that. But they've done some really interesting things in transforming how they are approaching creative, and Toccara is going to walk through some of that.
Thank you. So based on just how we've worked with Vodafone and really just understanding their business, they're definitely at a point of transformation and looking at ways that they can balance efficient reach and efficient scale, but also bring in sort of brand performance and also looking at brands. So I think it's the age-old sort of question and what a lot of marketers are dealing with, which is how do I really kind of look at econometrics? How do I build a brand? But also, how do I not fall into the efficiency trap and join kind of these two strategies together? Because we know that performance is really kind of everything. And upper funnel can sometimes be a little bit harder, especially on the digital side, to understand the efficiency of. However, building a brand is insanely important and requires upper funnel sort of initiatives. So on the Vodafone side, they've been really exploring this, and that includes also how they merge the brand teams and paid social teams, how they scale creative, how they scale technology. And then also that includes, and this is the work that we've done with them, how do we validate that great creative actually drives great brands? And how do we do that through data? So I'm gonna walk through just two examples that we kind of have explored with Vodafone that really show how we're bringing, I would say, a strategic approach and validating this idea that, brand drives performance, even though kind of from the front end, it may seem a little bit expensive. So the first example, this really gives us a good idea of just how creative quality drives results. And so what we did here, we ran an eye tracking study. This is through a partner called Sticky. And this was using a 100-person panel here in the UK, a mix of males and females. And we are using native ad formats. So these are integrated formats that sit in the page. From a CPM perspective, they're a little bit more expensive. However, they're highly more viewable than display and in general kind of aligned with content. And the question was, kind of how does this drive performance or connect with the consumer? And you can see through the data, and this is also kind of moving away from just kind of buying metrics to really showcase brand metrics. So we saw 72% brand recall, over 90% saw the Vodafone ad before a competitor, so there's a competitor ad on the page. 69% had brand association with their tagline, which is the nation's network. And then also 84% engaged with creative. And so these are some really great stats and kind of over benchmark that showcase the power of this ad. At the same time, we also were able to see kind of against the ad that was also on the screen, the competitor's ad, just overall results. So this is looking at our native ad versus the display ad. And you can really see here, I think the stats that we showed before are strong, but when you compare them against the competitor, and when you compare them against the display format, you can really see that there's definitely a boost in these very important brand metrics that are key for the business in terms of seen by percentage, time spent or time viewed, seen first by, and also revisited. And so these studies, these eye tracking studies, have been a really great way that we can work with our partners, our brand partners, to showcase the value of these different formats and do so in a really quick and easy way to then kind of validate a small test and learn strategy that can turn into a larger always-on initiative with the business. The second case study that we have is actually how we worked with Vodafone to scale and repurpose their social assets. So I think we all know we're being tasked to do more with less, to be more creative, to leverage like what we have, and it's tough. And so thinking through ways that you can reuse and repurpose assets becomes really important because I think a lot of you do not want to or cannot spend more money on developing something new for a new channel. So what we did here is we used some of their social assets to create another format that we ran across our inventory. And this is our flipbook native format. And overall, one, we were able to show efficiency from just kind of a creative build perspective because there's no cost for this. But two, we were to really build out a format that drove the results that they were looking for. So as you can see from a click-through rate perspective, we saw a pretty high click-through rate, a significant number of impressions and an efficient CPM. But the big, I think, headline here is really the lift that we saw throughout during optimization throughout the campaign. And this is really kind of using our proprietary optimization that we do that really kind of drove results for the business. But the big headline here, I would say, is really just how we were able to kind of help merge the paid social teams with the brand teams and leverage and repurpose creative to tell that same story and extend it from social to these other areas. So in terms of what Vodafone is exploring next, and I say this because this is a lot of what we discussed with Izzy and a lot of what they're continuing to explore. The first one is just continuing to integrate brand and performance across their teams. So I feel like many people are doing this, and it's very different within each of your companies how this happens. But looking at ways that you can not only scale teams, but tech, and also creative, so that you have this really tight integrated stack, not only within your business, but within all these other areas. The other one is just continuing to expand the approach across programmatic and paid social. So continuing to join those teams, and so looking at other ways that we can repurpose creative, whether that's through TikTok videos, Instagram kind of assets that you guys are building, or even things that are happening on like Facebook or X. So taking a lot of what's in that brand toolkit that you're building with these different social platforms and extending that either through vertical video, through our inventory, or through other native assets that we have available that we can easily and quickly make. And then the last one, which we're really excited about, and this is something that we know a lot of people are starting to scale, and we know that the first Prime Day is coming up very quickly. Looking at how you can scale offsite and scale smarter offsite. So I'm sure many of you, if you're retail based, you're already doing a lot with Amazon onsite, and we are working, and we're one of their partners that are integrated within the DSP that have an offsite inventory option. And so we're starting to test this with Vodafone. We're going to move into this test, really looking at how we scale for them offsite, how we drive incremental performance to what they're already doing, how we actually, provide a little bit more efficiency, especially because O&O during times like Prime Day can get insanely expensive, but create this holistic buy, leveraging Amazon's data offsite, using our formats and our inventory. And so similar to like everything we've already done and everything I've discussed, really validating that with measurement, right? And understanding the lift, the incremental lift, and the performance that this is driving, and understanding how quality formats, quality data, and quality inventory can drive success for a business. So I hope I explained that well enough.
I think Izzy would be proud.
I hope so. So we're really excited about some of these things, and definitely really excited to test this offsite strategy with Amazon up next.
Thank you, Toccara. That was really good. I think Izzy would be officially proud, and I hope she gets to see the recording of this. Great case study, and I just love how Vodafone is leaning into just really new ways of how they can build a relationship with creative and do more with less, as you say, or repurpose a lot of the assets they currently have across other medias. So I don't actually know how much time we have left. I know we want to do a little bit of Q&A at the end. Oh, I'm getting mixed signals. Either way, want to make sure that before we leave the stage, one of the key themes and ideas I want to leave the group with is this. TripleLift has no interest in just being another SSP. We don't want to do that. As the creative SSP, our goal, our mission is to ensure that every impression works harder for brands. We want to be able to provide creative experiences that are generating value for consumers and brands and publishers. So I'd say if you are tired of complexities, additional fees, stale formats, you should talk to us. Let's build something better together. So with that said, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys sitting down and listening to their case study and also listening to a bit about TripleLift. If we have time for Q&A, I don't know.
I'm just going to come on stage. We've just got this just one question, and it's actually a finish this sentence. So I don't know which one of you wants to take it, or you can both give it.
I think we could both try
Okay,
it.
you ready for this? It's what is the future? Future of advertising is ...
Oh, future of advertising. That's an easy one because I talked about it briefly. I think smarter use of data, for sure. Curation, which is probably a buzzword everybody in this room has heard about. And smarter creative. Using creative has a really key point when you're thinking about how to engage with consumers and being differentiated about that.
And Toccara, finish the sentence. Future of advertising is?
I would say it's better creative experiences at scale because we are very tired of experiences that suck, and we want to make sure that we can bring those at scale to other environments.
Here, you've heard it here. Can we give a round of applause to Terricka and Toccara for an incredible session? Thank you so much. Well done.